Hi and welcome back to my channel. My name is Charlotte. Thank you for joining me. If it's your first time, then welcome, and if you're returning, then welcome back. Thank you for joining me. I can't remember which podcast number this is, but I know it's been way too long since I made my last one. I said that I would make more often podcasts, but I just got carried away with working and other things that have been going on, so I haven't had the chance. A little bit about me, if it's your first time here. I live in the south of France with my boyfriend. We live 30 minutes north of Toulon, and we live in an old, it's difficult to describe. It's an old monastery. It used to be a monastery, and in the 1300s, and they moved the monastery further, about a kilometre higher up, and so this is called Morieux-le-Vieux, which is the old version of the monastery, but now it's a hotel with a big vegetable garden and a restaurant, and so we live and work here. And it's a really beautiful place to live, but right now it's very warm in the south of France. But we're lucky here because we have a source of water, a natural source of water, a spring, as we call it in English. I don't remember what that's called in English. In French it's called a source. I think in English we call it a spring. It's a natural spring that's coming out of the ground, so we have a constant flow of water, and it's really nice because it makes the air a lot fresher here, even when it's 36, 37 degrees heat. So yeah, that's where I live, and hopefully I can show you guys a little bit more around the area in future videos. Okay, so let's get started with my finished objects. Or should I talk about what I'm wearing? It's nothing special, it's just a little top that I made. I think it's the second top I ever made. I wear it a lot because I wear it to work a lot because I don't really have an attachment to it. If it gets messy or grubby or whatever, I don't really care, but it's just really comfy, it's baggy, and yeah, it's I think it was a pattern by not We Are Knitters. There's another company that's like We Are Knitters, big and industrial. I can't remember what they're called, but kind of similar kind of thing. And it was just a top. It was supposed to be stripy, and I just knit it normal. I think it's with shiny happy cotton. I have to say this cotton is quite nice. As much as I don't like buying from those companies, and I won't buy any more from them. The shiny happy cotton from the company that I can't remember the name of is actually quite nice. It's quite soft compared to most cottons that feel very dry. So yeah, it's quite a nice cotton if you're looking for a cotton. It is a DK, maybe even Aran. But yeah. Okay, so moving on to my finished object. The first finished object, and I think I showed you this in my previous podcast, I hadn't finished it then, is my Ingrid sweater. And this is going to be a theme of this podcast. I'm a little bit addicted to knitting sweaters right now. I know it's 37 degrees outside and boiling, but Celsius, that is, for anyone that's watching from America, 37 degrees Celsius. I can't stop knitting jumpers. I just want to knit jumpers all the time, and I've not knit a single summer top this year. As much as last year I was into knitting summer tops, I haven't knit a single summer top. I just want to knit jumpers right now. So that'll be the theme of this this podcast. So this is my Ingrid sweater. I love it. I'm so proud of it. It was extremely enjoyable to knit. I love knitting all the different textures. The yarn that I used is this yarn. It's the West Yorkshire Spinners Croft. It's 100% Shetland Island wool. It's a DK. And the colourway is called Mayland. And the yarn, it's 100 grams for 225 meters. And I had 6 of these, and I used 4.5 to make this jumper, I think. But I have 1 left, and I have quite a large ball left, so about 4.5 I used. And on me it's nicely oversized. I think I knit the second size. Yeah, I think I knit the second size. But I love the marbly effect with the texture, because I feel like it sort of subtles the texture a little bit, which I really like the idea of. But yeah, I haven't got to wear it so much, as the temperature is not really the best for wearing 100% wool jumpers, but I love it and I'm super proud of it. And this is the first time I've done Italian bind off. I messed it up a little bit on the ribbing on the bottom, because in the pattern it tells you to it says to do a double knit edge, and then you do the Italian bind off, and for some reason I messed up the double knit edge, and so the pearls, it makes the ribbing not on the rib, it's on the pearl instead of the knit. But yeah, whatever, I wasn't going to undo it, I didn't care. So yeah, this was my first Italian bind off, and I'm just obsessed with how stretchy it is compared to all my other jumpers that I've knit that don't have that. So when I did the cuff, I didn't do the double knit, I just did the Italian bind off, and then it works. Because I was scared of messing it up again. And I like to fold the cuffs up like this. The only thing with this pattern that I find not great is you can't really see it, but I mean you can if you look, is the cross on the arm. The pattern doesn't like match up, and so you kind of end up having to figure it out, and it's not extremely clear in the chart, and so yeah, it ends up looking a bit like this, but I guess it's on the underneath anyway, so you don't really see it. But yeah, something to think about. I think I've heard other people talking about that as well, that the underarm on the cross is a bit strange. But apart from that, I'm in love with this sweater, and I think I might knit one for my mum, because I think she would love this kind of design. And I'm also keen to knit, I think, the Moby sweater. I might knit the Moby sweater for my boyfriend, and for myself, maybe. I'm a little bit in love with these styles of jumpers, the Genza style, with all the different patterns. super fun to knit, really enjoyable. So that's my first finished object, and put that here. Okay, moving on is another jumper, of course, that you've seen before. And this one, if you've seen my last podcast, you'll remember me saying that I ran out of yarn, and the yarn I couldn't get because, losing my voice. The yarn I couldn't get because it was a yarn that I got in an Italian shop, and I didn't have like a ball band or anything for the yarn, and I had no idea what it was called, what it was. I had no idea what it was. I just knew it from the shop, and I went on the shop website. They didn't have anything that was similar, so I was a little bit screwed. Sorry for my language with that. So I scoured the internet trying to find a yarn that had the same meterage-ish. I figured out the meterage of the yarn, so I kind of knew how much it was to the gauge kind of thing, and so I was looking for something with a similar meterage, similar thickness, and with a self-striping colorway, and I found something, and I managed to finish it, and this is it. So this is my big rib sweater. I haven't even told you what it is. It's my big rib sweater by Jessie Maed. Oh, I completely forgot to tell you, the Ingrid sweater is by Petite Knit, if anyone doesn't know. I know it's an extremely popular pattern and most people know it's by Petite Knit, but if you don't know, the Ingrid sweater was by Petite Knit. Okay. This is the big rib sweater by Jessie Maed Designs. And I'll just bloop there. This is where I ran out, and you can see the other yarn that I got had more blue in the yarn, but I really don't think it's that noticeable. It's a bit of blue here. To me, I feel like it blends in pretty well, and you really don't notice it. It just goes from like green, pink to blue, which I quite like. And so the yarn that I managed to find is this, and it's by a company called Berger France, which is this. And this isn't the tag for this, this is something else. I don't remember what it is called, but it's 100% wool, and I can't remember the colorway. I think I've probably lost the tag for it, but this is what I have left, and this is held with 3 yarns. So we have drops, I think it's called Vieux Rose or something like that, Old Rose, or Old Rose, that sounds a bit funny. I'm not sure it's called Old Rose. It's something like that. It's like a dulled pink colour. The single the fingering weight yarn, and I use another yarn which is a white, and the white yarn is a blend of organic wool, mohair and silk, and I got this yarn at the same place where I got the other yarn at the Italian shop. And once I'd finished this and I finished this problem and I managed to find this yarn, I ran out of the other yarn at about here. So I searched my stash and found a white yarn that I could use to replace it, a white wool, and it's fine. I think you don't notice it. So this is, I call it my Frankenstein jumper because it's made up of so many different yarns, but I really like it. I really love the crazy colours. I think it's very me, and I did an Italian bind off at the bottom because I'm got a little bit addicted to the Italian bind off after my Ingrid jumper. I thought I would try it, and yeah, I really like it. I don't find it, like, I've seen a lot of people talking about Italian bind off, that it takes a long time and it's laborious. Is that a word? But I don't find it to be a hassle, or I really like it. And the Petite knit video, where she shows you how to do an Italian bind off, I like the way she does it, because many other videos I've watched, they seem to take a lot longer. And the way she does it is that instead of say if you purl off or knit off your stitch, and you pull it all the way through, and then you knit or purl the next one, she goes purl off, say you're purling off, purl off, and then knit through before you pull all the thing round. So you kind of do 2 stitches at the same time, and it's like double the speed, double the quickness. It takes half the time that I guess you would need if you were to purl off or knit off and then pull it all through and then do the next stitch. So yeah, I think it for me it goes pretty fast, and I really enjoy it. So yeah, this is my big rib sweater / Frankenstein sweater, and I really like it, and I can't wait to be able to wear it when it's cold. A few more months to wait. Okay, let's see. So next, after finishing that sweater, I did a test knit, and the test knit was for Blame the Knots. I can't remember her name exactly right now, off the top of my head, but her Instagram handle is Blame the Knots, and the top is called the Central Purlk, and it's out right now. So if anyone wants to go get the pattern, it's a really nice pattern, really easy to knit and really quick. And this is the top. Maybe it's a bit. Okay, I'm back. It's been a few days since I stopped the podcast that you just saw, and the reason I had to stop was because basically, as we're the only people that live here at the hotel, we have a fire alarm in our bedroom for the whole of the hotel in case something happens, and we've had a lot of issues recently because they've just installed it and it keeps going off, and so it went off in our room and I had to go figure it out and turn it off, and there's been problems. And so anyway, I was like very annoyed about that, and I didn't really feel like finishing the podcast because I wasn't very relaxed. So now I'm feeling a lot better and I'm back, and I'm sorry if the lighting is different, but it's been a few days and now I can finish my podcast, thankfully. Okay, where was I? I think I was talking about the Central Purlk tee top. I can't remember. And after rewatching what I'd already just filmed for what you've just watched, I realised that I did say I haven't knit any summer tops, and this is technically a summer top. So I have knit one summer top this year so far. Maybe I'll knit some more, I'm not sure. But the only summer top I have to show you is this little guy, and I really like it. The yarn that I knitted in is this, which is the Berger de France linen cotton, and it is 70% cotton, organic cotton, and 30% linen, and it's in this sort of mild colour. I guess the linen is the grey and the cotton is the orange. And then I held that with a yarn from my stash, which is a 100% linen yarn by Lang. And I think they have 2 linen yarns in their range, and it's the really thin one. It's a lace. I would say it's a lace weight yarn, and I held that doubled. I held 2 strands of the lace weight linen with this, and it created this thick. It's a thick DK, I would say, and this pattern is great because there's 2 options for the back. You have the option for the racer back, which is what I knit, and then you have the option for just straps, I think, but I quite like the racer back. And the whole idea is that there's this central pearl detail that goes all the way like this, and also down the back. And it was a really nice top to knit, really quick, and yeah, I really like it. I haven't actually worn it much because I've been meaning to film this podcast for way too long, and it's been sitting on my side with my things that I want to show for my podcast, and I haven't worn it. So maybe I will wear it today after filming this podcast. The needle size I think is a 4.5, and I knit the second size, and it fits me perfectly. So yeah, that's my central Purlk. Go and buy this pattern and enjoy knitting it because it's really, really nice to knit. Okay, next, I had a little stash dive. No, not a stash dive. I had a little dive into some lingering, long awaiting projects that I haven't knit on since months and months and months, maybe even last year, that were in my cupboard and I'd kind of forgotten about them. And I went through and I was looking at what I wanted to knit and what I wanted to maybe frog. And I decided to finish finally my Ballerina crossover, I think it's called, by two hand wands. I can never remember the name of the designer, but here it is, and it's covered in dog hair, of course. And this is knit in the Rowan Summerlight DK, and the colour is 00470, I think. And this is 130 meters for 50 grams. And this is something that I started a really, really long time ago when I first started knitting in a different yarn, and the yarn was a lot thinner, and I didn't understand the whole gauge, thickness of yarn, all of that kind of thing. I was, complete beginner, and I was just like, oh, I'm going to knit this, and then it didn't work and it was too small. So I frogged it, I ripped it out, and I started again in this yarn, and then I think I ran out of yarn, and that's why I stopped knitting. And then I bought the yarn again, but I just didn't keep knitting because I couldn't remember where I was in the pattern. And here I was like, okay, I'm going to read my work, I'm going to read where I finished on my garment, I'm going to read the pattern. I managed to match it up, and yeah, it fits great. I think I knit the smallest size, and originally I wanted to do long sleeves, but didn't have enough yarn, and I was not going to buy another ball of yarn for a project that I just wanted to finish. So yeah, I think it's cute with the short sleeves, and I look forward to wearing it. It fits nicely across my body, and you can see I ran out of yarn because I didn't have enough to finish the I-cord around here, so I just found this silk grey yarn that I had lying around, and I think it makes a nice little accent, and it works well. 4mm needles, and I'd love to knit another one in a woolly yarn with long sleeves for the winter, because I think that would be super nice over dresses in the winter time. But yeah, that's my little ballerina crossover. And I love this as well because I used to do ballet when I was younger, and we always had to wear little ballet crossovers in the winter, but they were always in a pink acrylic material, which I always hated, but that's what they made them in. So yeah, now I have this little handmade one, which makes me happy. And I love this blue colour, and it's not often that I wear this kind of darker blue, but I really like it. I think it's nice. Okay, next is another lingering whip that I decided to start last winter, last November, maybe December, and then just stopped knitting on. I think it was last November, because if you've been watching here for a while, you will have seen in my visiting London video that I bought myself a sock needle, or a small circumference needle for knitting socks, and I started knitting a sock, but I actually never showed you it because I knit this much and then gave up and was lazy. But I finished them. Woo! I finally knit my first pair of socks, and I love them. They're so cute, and they're covered in dog hair. I haven't worn them because 37-degree heat doesn't really make you want to wear 100% wool socks, but I can't wait for winter so I can wear them. And I'm definitely going to knit more. I don't know which was the first one I knit, but maybe it was this one. It looks like it's a little bit more aged. But it took me forever to knit the first one, then I finished the rest of the first one and the whole second one in a day and a half. I think I knit this one in a day, basically. It was so fast, and I don't know why I took so long to want to finish it. Anyway, these are the Everyday Socks by, I think it's by Petite Knit. Yes, these are the Everyday Socks by Petite Knit. This is the first socks I've ever made. It's just a little ribbed cuff, a short row heel, and then just the decreases on the toe. I assume that's normal. I'm definitely I'm the opposite of a sock expert, so just the little decreases. And yeah, it was super fun to knit. They fit me perfectly, like a sock. And the yarn that I used is I don't have it with me here. It's the Rosa Palma, what is it called? Rosa Palma something. I'll look it up and I'll put it here. But it's the 100%. It's a popular 100% Portuguese wool. 100% popular 100%. A popular 100% wool Portuguese sock yarn, and it's beautiful to knit with. I love it. I have this color. It's like a slightly off red color. It's a little bit Christmassy. And I also have it in green. Oh, so maybe I could knit Christmas socks with green and red. That would be cute. Okay, that's an idea. So yeah, it's a beautiful sock yarn. If you're someone that doesn't want to knit with acrylic in your sock, like me, I know maybe it's going to make my socks last longer, but I prefer not to buy yarn with acrylic in it for my personal taste. And so yeah, it's a great yarn, really, really nice. To me, it doesn't feel itchy. It's not crazy soft, but it's not itchy. It's a nice feeling, and I can't wait for it to get a little bit colder so I can get more into sock knitting, because I really, really enjoyed it. And I would love to knit some slightly chunkier socks as well. I think I have I bought a pattern for a pair of chunkier socks. I'm just looking on my patterns here. I don't have it. If I find it, I'll put it here or here. or somewhere on the screen so you can see the pattern I'm talking about. But there's loads of more DK weight or chunkier sock patterns, but this specific one I thought was quite cute. So yeah, I'm excited for sock knitting and I can't wait to wear them. And I use 2.5mm needles if you're interested. Okay, that is all my finished objects. That was maybe a lot. That is knit over a long period of time. That's been what, 3 or 4 months now that I've been knitting all of those things, and some are very old, so it's not like I'm not knitting loads and loads and loads. It's just that's an accumulation. But that was a lot. Okay, and let's move on to works in progress. I have to say I've been a little bit carried away with knitting works in progress. I've been trying not to cast on new things, but it's been difficult because I want to knit everything. I'm going to start with the oldest of my whips. Okay. And this was in my last podcast and still not finished because I struggle with the motivation. This is extremely woolly. Does that make sense? This is a jumper that I'm knitting for my boyfriend. It is the Halibut sweater, and I'm so close to finishing. I've finished the body, and it's a tiny bit short on him, but I think it's going to stretch as it's 100% wool in the washing, and I'm almost finished the sleeve, but I need him to try it on, and he refuses to try it on because it's too warm right now. So I'm a little bit stuck. Maybe I could start the other sleeve. I've tried it on myself, but I mean I'm 5 foot and not very long, so my arms don't really count compared to his. I think he's has longer arms than me. So yeah, this is it. It's nice and chunky, and the yarn I'm using is Tulip, in this beautiful marine blue colour. It is a beautiful unspun yarn. It's an Icelandic wool, if you don't know. That is my dog's barking. It's a beautiful Icelandic wool, and I really love knitting with Tulip. I also use this white colour. It's just a white from the colour range. As for this pattern, it's knit on 4mm needles. The size I think is the medium. I think I'm knitting the medium. My boyfriend is not super big. He's a petite guy. He's a bit taller than me, but he's quite muscly. So like in the shoulders, he's broad. So I didn't want to knit it too small, so that it would be a bit too tight. But then I didn't want to go too big, so it would be too loose. So I tried to get in the middle, and hopefully it fits in well. I did measure him. The colour work was a bit of a drag. It was long. I was ready for it to be finished. I've done a fair amount of colour work jumpers, but in my size, which is a lot faster to knit. And in a bigger size it took longer, obviously. But yeah, and also I've knit a few jumpers with 3 colours, even 4 colours at the same time, and it was not as hard doing that as it was with some of this pattern, because it just wasn't memorable. Like some of the rows I had to look the whole time to know the pattern, because it was just quite complicated, so I had to follow the chart every single time for every motif, which took a long time, obviously. And then doing it with the chart on your phone takes longer as well. So yeah, but I'm glad that's done. now I just have the sleeves to do, and I need to get on with it and finish it, because this was supposed to be a birthday present, and his birthday was in March, at the beginning of March. It was very long overdue, and I'd like to knit him another jumper. So yeah, this is my first whip, and I'm looking forward to it to be finished. Oh, I can't even speak English anymore. Okay. Whoops. My next whip is, whoops, you'll see these are all jumpers. Okay. A lot of yarn in here. So my next, oops, my next, can't even speak. My next work in progress is this. It's a cardigan, and I think the pattern is by Ozetta, and it's called the Season Cardigan. I think it's called the Season Cardigan. And this is the cardigan. And I'm doing like a kind of stripe thingamajiggy. I haven't knitted on this in a while, actually. I don't know why. It's hard to show. I've finished the yoke, and now I'm just knitting the body. And it's knit on, oops, I think it's knit on 4.5mm needles and 6. And you knit the bottom band at the same time, which is cool, because then I don't need to knit it separately after. And the yarn that I'm using, and it's in, it's all in half fisherman's rib. I've never knit, except for the bottom band, I've never knit half fisherman's rib before, but I'm enjoying it. It's extremely easy to do, and simple, and actually easier than just ribbing, because you do all knit one round, and then the next round is purl one, knit below, purl one, knit below. So it's even easier than normal ribbing, which is kind of cool. And the yarn that I'm using is I'm using this yarn the whole way through, and then I'm adding the colours that make the stripes. And this is 100% Sardinian wool from Sardinia, where I was living in the winter time before. If you're a long time, not that my channel is very old, but if you started watching me last year, then you'll remember that I was living in Sardinia on a farm, and this wool is from a mill that is right next to where I was living. Yeah, so it's quite special to me, this wool, and it's really nice and rustic, and 100% Sardinian wool in a natural colour. That's all I can tell you about it. I'd say the thickness is a light fingering weight yarn, and so yeah, that's that. And putting it with, I have these four. And black and white isn't really a colour. I have these 4 shades, and this yarn is naturally dyed by a company here in France, and it's called Teinture Végétale, and they're called Laine Trait. My French is not amazing. And yeah, it's a small little, I think it's just one lady that has sheep that is getting her wool spun and then naturally dyeing the yarn, and they're all naturally dyed. And the yarn is maybe it's not even her sheep. I think it's her sheep because I follow her on Instagram and she's posting videos of the sheep, so I assume it's her sheep. It's 70%. She's written the name of the sheep, but I know it's just okay. It's 70% wool, 15% mohair, and 15% alpaca, and it's 50 grams for 165 meters, and it's also a fingering weight. So these two together, they kind of make a heavy DK. And so yeah, I'm just using these, and I have another black, and if I run out of yarn, I will just order more from her. For now, that's what I have, and yeah, I'm enjoying knitting this. It's not, I'd say it's not colours that I would normally go for, and I don't know if I'm sure about the yellow and the grey together, but so far I like it. I really love the red and the grey, and I've also never knit a cardigan before, so I'm enjoying it for now. I haven't knit on it in a while, but I think it's going to be nice. It's pretty chunky. I think it's going to be a nice sort of coat jacket kind of thing in the winter. That's what I'm going for. And yeah, did I say what it was knit on? I think I did. 4.5 millimeter and 6, and I think I'm knitting the small, but normally I go for the smallest size or the second smallest size. And so yeah, that's my cardigan by Ozetta. I'm going to put it back in the bag because there's a lot of things that go with it, and I don't want to lose them. Next I have another jumper, of course. Attached. And this is the Tulip sweater by Oslo Knits. I think they're called Oslo Knits. And I saw the picture of this sweater and I fell in love with it. Theirs is in a slightly lighter colour, but this is the sweater. I finished everything except for one sleeve. I'm on Sleeve Island on a few things. I mean, yeah, sleeves take some time. No, that's the problem. Sleeves don't take time, but they're not as fun as the yoke and the colour work, so I end up putting them off until I work up the courage to finish them. So yeah, this is almost finished. I just have to knit one sleeve, and I don't know if I said in my other jumpers that I've done Italian bind off on all of my bind offs now. I think since I discovered Italian bind off, that's going to be my bind off from now on, because I really love the fact that jumper doesn't, I have a few unspun jumpers, and when you put them on, you need to just be careful that, because it doesn't stretch very well. And I know doing an Italian bind off with unspun yarn is like almost impossible if you don't have like the patience of a saint. But it's nice to be able to put a jumper on like you would if it was bought from a shop, for example, and not worry about the bottom ribbing like breaking from stretching it, which is, I like it, it's great. So yeah, I did Italian bind off here, Italian bind off here, and yeah, this is knit with three strands of silk mohair held together. And me, I just used drops silk mohair because I would love to use a more expensive silk mohair, but for now I didn't really have the money, and I wanted to try out drops and see what it's like for now, as in like a jumper or sweater quantity. And it's fairly soft. It's pretty soft. I mean, it's a little bit not scratchy but tickly, but maybe that's because it's warm as well. Yeah. So yeah, and I really like it. It's super cute. You just have this motif down the middle with the what are they called? Wow, my brain. I want to say braids. It's not called a braid. You know what it's called. With these on the sides, and then these little bubbles. With this pattern, you have to knit colour work you have to purl colour work at the start, because you knit like the back portion, and then you knit the front, and then you join them together. So, and the colour work, it starts quite high before you join for the arms. So all of this you have to purl the colour work, which I'd never done before, but I mean was fine. It wasn't a problem. And yeah, that's yeah, true, I forgot about that. The collar is super cute as well. It has this little ridgy effect, which was super easily achieved. Yeah, I'd never seen that before, but I think it's a really cute idea for the collar. Yeah, the needle size is, I think it's a 6.5 or a 6, 5.5, 6. I can't remember. It's something like that, 5 or 6 millimeters. And yeah, I can't wait to wear this. I can't wait to finish it. I can't wait for winter so that I can wear all my jumpers that I've knit. Oh, okay, that was my Tulip sweater. And I have one more whip, almost there. It was a bit of an impulse cast on. And let's get it out. Oh, I do have the colours left over. Okay. So this is the Varpu sweater. I think that's what it's called, the Varpu sweater. Yeah, this is the Varpu sweater by Jonna Hietala. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correct. And I've seen this pattern knit so many times by Cat Weaver on her podcast, and she's always talking about it. And I looked up the pattern, and it's a very simple sweater, and I've seen how she knits it in different gauges, and I really just wanted something, a simple sweater, baggy, open gauge. And I've had this yarn for a long time, almost a year I think, and it's by Lana Grossa, and it's called Eco Puno, and it's hand dyed. It says made in Italy, hand dyed in India, and it's 50 grams for 215 meters, and I think that's the dye lot. So the color is 501, I think. And yeah, it's this beautiful multi-dyed yarn, and it's quite thin. I would say it's a fingering weight yarn, and so I didn't want to just I didn't want to just use this. And then I had is it finished now? Oh, yeah. I had these 3 yarns left over from my Tulip sweater, and so I was looking at these and like, oh, what am I going to do with them, because I'm probably not going to use them for anything. And then I had this, which basically has the same colours inside, purple, sort of a rusty colour, and a blue, and this has the exact same colours inside. And so I thought, oh, maybe I can pair all 3 together and knit a jumper, which is what I did. So here is my Varpu sweater so far. I'm sorry about the needle drag. Here is my Varpu sweater. I don't have any more of this yarn, so I'm kind of doing a little bit of yarn chicken. So I decided I will knit the sleeves now, and then we'll just go with the body until we run out of yarn. So yeah, this is it so far. It's going to be nice and drop shouldery, oversized, baggy. I love the colour, I love the purple, I love the mix of colours, and yeah, I really like it. It's knit, I think the pattern says 9mm needles, and I'm using 7, 6, 9. Oh no, I'm using 9. What does the pattern ask for then? Okay. The pattern asks for 10mm needles, and I'm using 9. And then for the ribbing, I guess I'll just go down to an 8, because I think I sized up like 2 sizes or 3 sizes even. I'm knitting the 3rd size, and I went down a needle size because my yarn definitely was. I don't think it was going to look good at 10mm. I didn't gauge swatch, so you know. I'm a bit rubbish at gauge swatching because I can't be bothered. I like the surprise, which is maybe it's good or bad if you like the surprise, because it can be a bad surprise, it can be a good surprise. But I like the surprise, so I tend to not gauge swatch unless it's a test knit, in which case, of course, I will gauge swatch because it's not just for me. But in this case, I did not gauge swatch, and so far I like the size. So far working out good, and yeah. If I run out of this, then I'll try and find more if I can. Hopefully I don't run out. And if you would like to know the colours, I think I have them here. The colours are 33, 39 and 11. I don't know which one is which because there's just numbers. So those are the colours, and I need to order more because I ran out. So that I need to buy more of, but that's fine. And yeah, I think this is not something I'm going to rush through. It's not taking a long time as it's on 9mm needles. I think it might be the first thing I've ever knit on 9mm needles, which is cool. I prefer to knit with smaller needles, but it's nice. It's going fast. And so yeah. And oh, what's going on here? I think I've dropped my. Where is that here? Oh, I don't know. Anyway, that's my Varpu sweater, and yeah, I'm excited to have it. I guess that's all my whips. I did have acquisitions, but I took so long to make this video that I've used them. For example, the yarn for my Tulip sweater was an acquisition, but I started knitting it because I couldn't wait any longer. And I don't have any more acquisitions. I am about to start a test knit for Cat Weaver, knitting her jelly cube. I can't remember if she's called a jelly cube cardigan. I can't remember what it's called. Oh. I'm excited to start knitting that. I've ordered the yarn from Biche and Bouche, and so yeah, that's going to be fun to knit. I'll show you that in my next video. Maybe I'll do some little vloggy videos, little update videos more. I have one thing I'd love to show. So yesterday with my boyfriend we went to a pottery market in Cotignac, which is in the south of France. And in France it's quite popular. They have in the summertime pottery markets, and I'm a really big fan of pottery. I love handmade pottery, and so whenever I find one advertised, I said to my boyfriend, we have to go. So we went and it was quite a small one. It was very cute, and I bought a few things which I thought maybe you would like to see. So we got this is a little handmade olive oil dispenser. I thought it was really cute. They had a few, but this one I like the shape of the kind of bulgy outside, and I think the colour is very pretty. So yeah, this one. And then I also got this beautiful bowl, and it's a technique called a crystallized enamel. If you can see in the inside, it's really crystallized, the enamel, and I love it. I think it's beautiful. So yeah, those are my 2 acquisitions. Not yarny acquisitions, but they are acquisitions. And I have an obsession for pottery. We have a lot of handmade pottery here in our house because I love to buy it, and also to support local artists that make pottery. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this podcast, and thank you so much for joining me. And if you enjoyed it, then please give me a subscribe or a like, and feel free to comment in the comments with any questions that you have about anything that I've shown, or anything about where I live here, about the hotel, anything like that. If you'd like to see more videos where I'm showing you around the potager, the garden, or anything like that, then let me know. And yeah, I will see you in the next podcast or video.